Hello everyone. I'm very happy to have with me Dr. Utpal Patel, a proud Damsonian, and he's secured a rank 71 in November AIIMS postgraduate entrance exams. Heartiest congratulations, Utpal.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I know a lot of hard work goes into getting top ranks like these. How do you feel after all the hard work?
It's a wonderful feeling actually. It needs hard work, but eventually I got the fruits and it feels wonderful.
Definitely, yes. As they say, hard work never goes wasted. Yes.
Sure, ma'am.
So we are very, very proud of you and very happy for you as well.
Thank you.
And Utpal, we would want you to sort of guide and motivate your juniors who want to be in your position and want to get into the prestigious institute. So they would want to know about your strategy of getting this rank. Utpal was a TND student with us, and then he did his test series as well.
Yeah.
So maybe you could tell your approach of how they could use the test and discussion series optimally, and how can they do a smart study with it.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, first you need to have a time frame. I mean, you should know first of all when is your exam and how much duration you have got. I mean, you got your 19 subjects and you need to be prepared as to how much amount you need to give for a particular subject. Okay, and you need to be sure that you're going to study a particular amount and a particular amount of time for a particular amount of subject.
Right.
I mean, you should deviate and give around 10 to 15 days for a particular subject and leave another subject behind, because more important for me was revision.
Yes.
Whatever you do, you need to be thorough with it. Even if you leave out a few things, that doesn't matter to me.
I think he's brought about a wonderful point and very valid point, and I think nobody else has really talked about it. So I'm definitely going to, you should listen out to him, guys. So he actually says the first thing you do is planning up, right? You should see what time you have. Divide your time as per the subjects, and then instead of going a lot into one thing, he says it is more important to consolidate things.
Because it's just 200 questions. I mean, it's up to you. It's a luck by chance. You might get a question from there. Even if you are thorough with a subject, you might not get any question from that subject.
Absolutely, agreed. So, because a lot of times, even the central institutes are doing this. For example, previously AIIMS used to ask a lot of off-thal questions, and then suddenly the questions have gone really down.
It's really unpredictable.
Yes, so it is unpredictable. So it's very important to give importance to all the 19 subjects so that you don't leave your weak zones.
People tend to do everything. I mean, they attend this college. I mean, this institute. They combine everything.
Yes.
They study everything from that, and they leave out another thing. I mean, or they are not able to revise the things.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yes. So
that was my strategy actually. I mean, I completed my course, whatever I could do. Even I left out a few major subjects.
Right.
To revise the things which are more important, first and second prof, which I thought were more important for AIIMS.
So I think that's the second very, very, important point that he's brought about is the revision. He says, more than compiling and just accumulating things, he has given more importance to revision of what he already has. I think that is definitely a very, very wise piece of advice, because people get a lot of input these days and they really don't know what to do with all that.
You can't remember such things,
Yes, so agreed. And how can someone make use of the tests, Utpal? Did you find that they were useful for the final exam as well?
Yeah, even if the questions the questions really are not asked from any of these test series, but still they help you in, time management. That's the most important thing, and to reduce the number of negative marking.
That's right.
Yeah, because you get a lot of negative markings. The less negative you get, more chances.
Definitely.
So, the most important thing which I learned from the test series was time management and to reduce my negative marking. That's it.
That's very important, because negative marking.
Nothing about
Yes, because it helps you bring up your score. Otherwise, even if you are a very, very deserving candidate and you do a few of silly mistakes,
it just takes 5 to 6 questions.
Yes, and it makes a lot of difference when we talk about such competitive exams. So since you are really talking about negative marking, I would want to know how many questions did you attempt, Utpal?
I attended 193, I guess.
193. So 193. Yet again, we've been, because they would want to know, should they be too defensive about it, thinking about the negative marking and mark really less number of questions?
No. That would be not an appropriate option for AIIMS particularly. I mean, you need to have a particular, even if 170 is a good mark, I would say. Above 170, it's up to you. It's your risk. I mean, if you're confident about even 160 questions, you may take risk with another 20. And leave out 20 questions.
Okay.
Yeah, that
so
would be
listen out, people. I think he's really telling his heart out on how the approach should be, because I think that really matters. Because those 3 hours are
because everybody knows 100 questions. The remaining are the ones which you responsible for your selection. Yeah.
Definitely. I think a very wise piece of advice there as well. And Utpal, you've been giving the grand test, as you said, and could you tell us how helpful they were in whatever thing you feel they have contributed?
Ma'am, I used to take all the test series as of I'm sitting for the exam, so that was the only thing. I mean, they used to just prepare me for the main exam.
Right.
There was no pressure. Well, I mean, I was just giving another test on the computer.
So,
that's the
so
only
important,
thing,
you know, to get out of that idea that, you know, you get used to of sitting for 3 continuous hours in the computer, giving it in that format, so that, you know, you are not really scared of the real exam. That's yes, important, because if it takes off a little load off you in terms of stress during the exam, I think
you can score another 1 or 2 questions easily. I mean,
yes,
especially for AIIMS. I mean,
that's very true. Okay, and Utpal, could you also tell them, because they would definitely want to be in your place, securing these kind of ranks in AIIMS or Apex institutes, could you tell them what kind of subjects or topics, although you did say that they keep changing the pattern, but something that you feel from your side should be done if somebody is aiming at AIIMS exams?
I would say you focus more on first and second prof thoroughly, I mean to say, because we tend to lose that part after your second prof exams.
That's right.
And you tend to give a lot of time to the major subjects, which are really vast and time consuming.
That's so true.
So my strategy would be to do first and second prof thoroughly.
Okay.
Then go to minors.
Okay.
And then go for majors.
Because I think there is no end to those subjects.
There is no end to it. I mean, even if you left out the major subjects, it wouldn't matter much. I mean, that's what I thought. So be thorough with your minors, be thorough with your first and second prof, that because these are the scoring subjects.
Right.
And even if you haven't studied medicine, you might be able to solve the question, because it's an MCQ question, not a subjective one.
And
so
medicine has a lot of integral part of other things as well. It might have an input from pathology, you might have an input from microbiology, and you know, that constitutes a clinical question.
So if you are even thorough with forensic, even if you give a third revision to a forensic subject, that would be much better than doing a radio or not radio, I mean surgery.
Yes, it's totally too vast, and you can't really know everything about it.
Yes, pointless.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, and Utpal, also very importantly, what should be done, or what should people focus on, let's say, a month prior to sitting for the exam?
They should see how much they have covered in the past 3 to 4 months, which they have done. If they haven't touched the topics like forensic, micro, they should do that. And especially I would suggest, what I did was I left out anat and forensics and micro. Those are volatile subjects according to me.
Towards the end.
Towards the end, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe if you could just read them once at the end. If I haven't given a single reading, I would suggest you keep it for the last, so that you can just format it out, because these subjects are just volatile.
And I think it could be true for a lot of other students as well. So please listen him out carefully. He's saying if you feel a subject is too volatile for you and you've read it once, he says maybe you could push it towards the end, so that sort of it stays in your mind and the recall is better in the exams. That's great. And also, Utpal, another aspect of the AIIMS exams is the visual questions that they ask, and which is quite a few. You know, out of 200, there are about 50, 60 questions, which are definitely going to be visuals. So you attended the DVT as well, right? So do you think it was useful?
It was useful, yeah. It was definitely useful. Used to get used to the images. I mean, it was useful for me. Even if the questions hadn't come from the DVTs, you had an idea about the subject.
Because they keep rotating around the same thing. Yes. And you know, the format of asking it always changes, but the content doesn't change.
Definitely.
So yes, it gives you an idea.
It gives an idea.
And anything that you could tell them how to approach the visual questions, maybe?
Rule out the options. I mean, that's the best possible thing, because you don't sometimes don't have a clue what that thing is.
Yes. Agreed.
So, I mean, ruling out would be a best option, and you look at the images of, especially of ANAT and what do you say, microbiology and path. These 3 things you should be thorough with the images. Rest, I guess, it's all luck for you.
And he says one of the ways could be just ruling out the options. So again, I think a wise piece of advice on how you give during the exam. So that's great, Utpal. And Utpal, anything else that you would want to recommend these juniors who are listening out to you when they focus on, you know that the competitive exams are pretty stressful for everyone. So how could they just, in a summary, plan up their 6-month study and ensure that they are right there?
maybe they should do something which they like every day. I mean, that's the thing, because it's a long thing. You might get bored. You take a time off. I mean, you should take time off 3 to 4 days to go somewhere.
Great.
Do that things. But
To keep your mental balance, right?
Because you can't study 6 months continuously.
That's
you need
so
breaks
true.
in between, and you should definitely take breaks. And you should be confident with what you are doing. Never overstudy. That's what I'm saying. Never overstudy a subject. You have a particular content, you do that and you revise that, nothing else. I mean, even
Please listen to him,
nothing
guys.
else.
You have 1 month for NEET, and I think it is a very, very precious advice that he's giving. Someone who's done it from the heart, and he's trying to give it out to you. And it takes a lot of courage to do that as well. But I think you should all be thankful to these people who are trying to guide you in the right direction. And this is a wise advice. 1 month, 2 months before the exam, stick to what you have done. Stick to your revisions. Don't be greedy to try and do a lot of things and then not remember anything, right?
Definitely.
So multiple revisions would definitely help.
It will help, definitely.
Great. And Utpal, what branch do you want to pursue for your post-graduation?
Yeah, I would love to take radio diagnosis, but according to my rank, I won't be getting a Delhi, but
Let's see.
I'd love to get a radio.
Great, wonderful. So we wish you all the very best
Thank
for
you.
a very bright future.
Thank you, ma'am.
And it was a pleasure to have you here.
Same here,
God
ma'am.
bless and take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.